Ukraine dominated the President's Day in New York. It is also one of the subdramas roiling Capitol Hill at this hour as it seems to be shuffling towards another government shutdown. Republican lawmakers are divided on whether or not to provide additional aid to Ukraine. Multiple conservatives have come out against including it in the spending bill needed to avoid a government shutdown. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us now there from the halls of the Capitol. Scott, good to see you. The closer we get to September 30th, the closer or the more likely a shutdown becomes. So what, if anything, happened today to stop that from happening? And what, if anything, happened today to help Kevin McCarthy hold on to his job in such a narrowly divided House?
This day began on a highway towards a government shutdown, September 30th. And this day ended as if the slow car got out of the left lane and they hit the gas pedal to go much faster. It's not just what happened on the floor late today, though that was part of it. It's the tone and tenor of House Republicans. Let's start with what happened on the floor late today. They brought to the floor in the U.S. House what is usually the easiest spending bill to pass, a rule vote on the bill to fund the military, something every district in America needs and likes. That bill came up short on the needed Republican votes. It failed. That's an indication things are going south. It's an ominous sign. But then coming off the floor, Ed, there was this animus between Republicans against each other. One group of Republicans calling the Republicans who opposed that military spending bill dangerous, obstinate, and sycophants for China. That's the language Republicans are using against each other. It's indicative of problems ahead. Take a listen to Mike Lawler of New York, who won a Biden district in New York in 2022. Here's what he had to say about a few members of the House Freedom Caucus who held up today's bill.
Throughout the course of the year, we have worked together collaboratively and gotten to where we needed to get 218 votes. Unfortunately, right now, we have a handful of people who refuse to do that work because they feel this is the way that they get to what they want.
Ed, as you know, the bill to keep the government open, the continuing resolution, is much trickier than just funding the military. There's no indication the breakaway members of the House Freedom Caucus who've opposed that continuing resolution have changed their minds, and the relationships are fraying as we get closer to September 30th.
And not only is it bad there in the House, as you so vividly outlined there, sycophants for China. It's got to be one of the worst things a Republican can say about another Republican. But part of the challenge here is you've got the president pushing for this support. You've got a big chunk of the House, but not enough of it in favor of the support. And then over in the Senate, there appears to be growing bipartisan support for doing this. We got a sample of it last night in a debate between Delaware Democratic Senator Chris Coons and Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio that I was asked to moderate, co-hosted by the Bipartisan Policy Center and the Edward Kennedy Institute and the Orrin Hatch Foundation, designed to bring members of the two parties together. There was bipartisan support for this funding. Take a look.
If the United States tomorrow announced we're not doing anything more with Ukraine, we're gone, the impact wouldn't just be felt in Ukraine. Every our entire alliance system would be put into doubt.
Putin will only stop in Ukraine if we all collectively stop him. So I think this funding is critical.
So once the House sorts it out, it's going to be just as tricky to get it through the Senate, right?
Well, there is overwhelming approval and support for Ukrainian funding in the U.S. Senate. And when Vladimir Zelensky meets with the U.S. senators here on Thursday, he's going to have a relatively receptive audience. He's going to meet with some U.S. House leaders, according to our latest reporting. Some, not the entirety of the House chamber, according to our latest survey of members. But the reception's going to be so cool to continued or increased Ukrainian aid among the same House members who are holding up the bills to keep the government open. So it's a tough sell, even with Volodymyr Zelensky in person in the Capitol. Really, it's just one of the sticking points holding things up, but it's a pretty important one amid a land war in Europe.
And then, of course, real quick, the other subplot is the impeachment inquiry, which is now set to begin with a hearing next week, right?
Next Thursday, the House Oversight Committee will have a hearing into its investigation of Hunter Biden. It's hard to discern that from the prior hearings they've been holding. We're pressing to get what's changed, what's different because of this impeachment inquiry. We do know they're issuing subpoenas trying to get more bank records. It's unclear if that subpoena power changed at all, but they're certainly moving forward.
Yeah, calling it a refresher just sounds like, let's just air all this laundry again and remind the public what we've got so far. But as the White House would point out, there isn't much there. And we'll see how Democrats counter all that. Scott MacFarlane on Capitol Hill chasing all sorts of drama on this Tuesday. We appreciate it.
Thank you.